is the toughest fat to lose from the body. I have been struggling with it for many, many years.
Belly fat is just not fat around the belly. Belly fat is two things. It has a high risk for diabetes mellitus, insulin resistance, even in women, PCODs.
Coffee should not be the first thing going inside your system when you wake up.
And some people think you get abs by doing abs exercises like crunches.
I used to think that,
Yeah, Russian twists and stuff. So that is not how you get abs.
Sometimes I'm too thirsty, but I'll think that I'm hungry. So I think to keep up with your water intake is also very important. That will count.
Definitely the future generation is going to be much more hotter, much more fitter and than what we are. And they will actually look much younger. It's going to change. Hi, hello everyone. Wish you a very, very happy new year. And we are here with a brand new episode of 2025 with a very interesting topic. And guess what? We're going to talk about belly fat. BELLYFAT, belly fat.
So you would be wondering, why are we talking about this? Well, as you know, we have always chosen topics which is close to our hearts. This is another such topic which is really close to our hearts. We have our personal experiences of struggles, still struggling with this very resistant belly fat. Exactly. And also, I think after our fitness episode, thank you so much for the love for that, from friends and even family members actually requested us to take up this topic. So here we are.
Right. So there's a lot of demand from the audience that we talk on more complicated and tougher subject. And we thought, okay, belly fat being a very, very tough fat, let's take the challenge. And then, well, you know, we're not fitness gurus here, but well, there is some professionalism that we can bring in as doctors, as physicians. And also why? Because we have gone through this journey and we are smart doctors sitting here. Who have, kind of in the journey of trying to be fit. And well, we're not really into that level, but then somewhere there we have kind of, with our personal experience, able to crack, how to get rid of this toughest fat. And then we thought, okay, why not, let's share our experience. It's just like directly coming from our heart and belly and just sharing our experience on this particular topic. And that's why we are here. So what is belly fat? So we have Vikas here who takes care of our recording. Extremely talented person. Because do you know what belly fat is?
Yeah, a little bit.
What is it? Tell us.
Just
what you know
the
about
fat around your belly.
Fat around the belly. Right.
For that, we have the live demonstration. The fat around the belly. I have a lot of it.
Yes. So the thing is, you're right because, but then belly fat is just not fat around the belly. So the fat around the belly that you see is the subcutaneous fat. Now there is more to it. There is deeper fat, and that is called the visceral fat. Now, visceral fat is the fat deposit, which is in and around your visceral organs like liver, kidney, intestines, which really plays a major role in your health and fitness. So belly fat is two things, which you see outside is a subcutaneous fat, and something inside the tummy, which is the visceral fat.
So if we work really, really hard and we lose this evident fat, are we good to go, or how does it work?
Well, very good question. So, losing the subcutaneous fat, of course, we feel good that aesthetically that I have a flat tummy and I'm looking great. But then I think for me, and I'm sure for you and many of us, although we have the aesthetic side to it, most importantly, there is a health benefit in cutting and losing the visceral fat, because visceral fat is a risk factor and an indicator of a bad health. It has a high risk for diabetes mellitus. It has a high risk for insulin resistance, cardiac diseases, and even in women, PCODs, the PCOS, polycystic ovarian disease. So there is a lot to do with the health, a good health as far as the visceral fat is considered. And it is the toughest fat. So that is why we found it is very, very important to talk about it and take you through our journey in cutting out this toughest fat in the body.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. It is the toughest fat to lose from the body. I have been struggling with it for many, many years. And I think I'm way past the timeline of the excuse of bearing a child, because it's been 7 years and I'm still not able to cut it no matter how much I take care of my exercise, my diet.
Right.
So I think we really have to go through what is the right balance of both these things and deep dive into it to help everyone about this topic.
Yeah, right. I mean, being a woman, I think, yes, post-pregnancy fat, there is a lot of fat around the belly, which is really, really difficult. And for men also, we see men who are basically thin, they'll be having a lean body. They might have a very lean arms and legs, but then that part in the body, in the belly, which is very difficult even for men to get rid of. So it's basically gender neutral, be it men or women. The fat accumulation and the fat deposit around the belly is really difficult. And I think it's an indicator of your systemic health. Yeah.
So quick question. How do we measure it? If I have to measure it.
Okay.
Can I?
Of course, yeah. So it's not difficult. It's very easy. So you just get to, knowing the waist circumference, the waist.
I might have something that
what do you have?
That will help you. I came prepared because I knew this topic is going to come up. And
seriously?
Yes. Maybe can you demonstrate what is the right way? Because people we have a huge area in the belly, right? So where do we exactly measure it?
Yeah.
What do we do?
So it's very easy,
I think we can set goals for.
I think so. Yeah.
Probably our episodes to come. Maybe I can make our audience accountable for measuring it today and coming back after 6 months to see how we are doing.
Right. Okay. So, thank you for getting it. Good surprise.
Yes, I came prepared.
All right. So it's not difficult to measure and it's important to measure the waist circumference. So depending upon the measurement that you get on the waist circumference, you can actually predict the risk factor and how much visceral fat that you have and what is a safe, belly, the waist circumference that each one of us should have as a male and a female. So you really want me to demonstrate?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you can come here and maybe everybody can know how to measure.
Okay, fine. So it's very easy. Okay. So I request all of you after this episode, because I'm demonstrating it here, go home, take a simple tape. And then what you need to do is you have to feel for your belly button. I'm keeping it here in my belly button. Can you just help me? Okay. And don't suck it in. Don't cheat.
Don't cheat. Yeah.
Don't cheat. And I'm not looking at it. Okay. So that there is no bias. How much is it?
It's 28.
28. Perfect.
All
right. So for a woman, the ideal waist circumference is less than 31.5.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is less than 31.5, it's perfect. Because your waist circumference, never done it. Do it after this. So for men, it has to be less than 37 inches. Do you want to try?
Yes, please.
So Shefali is in the journey of accountability.
Yes.
She's in a
I'm
fitness
accountable
journey.
to our audience and you and Vikas today.
Yes. And we
for
side me.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to check?
33.
Okay. So
yes,
you have to
go down 2 inches at least.
Down, yeah.
And I'm going to come back after 6 months.
So, all of us goes through this. Although we think we are exercising well and stuff, there are certain parameters which can easily tell us whether we are in the healthy, line or we are beyond it. So Shefali, you have been exercising.
Yes.
Right?
Exercising,
Yeah,
taking
2
care
years.
of my diet too. But yes, it has been the most resistant fat
Yeah.
to lose ever.
No,
Yeah.
but then exercising, I know that you regularly do. She does yoga. She really spends time moving her body with tennis, swimming, etc., etc. But then you have found it
Yes,
difficult, right? Still difficult to get the belly fat out. And I know that you have taken a
Yes.
new measure
yeah.
too. Yeah. What
Yeah.
have you done?
Yes.
How are you?
So yeah, exactly what you said, that I have been fairly active
Yeah.
throughout the day. I exercise, I play sport, but I am really struggling with this belly fat. So what I have enrolled for is a proper meal plan in the day.
Yeah.
So I realized diet is so very important if you have to tackle this resistant fat. So basically I realized it's simple math.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. It's really a math.
Yeah.
It's really some equation. It's like in and out.
Yeah.
It's basically putting in and what goes out.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah. Do you
input
wanna-
versus output ratio.
Yeah.
And you should know about your basal metabolic rate, which we all have just to sustain life,
Yeah.
and how much calories you are taking in. So that you really need to check, and how much active calories you are
Right,
burning.
yeah.
So you have to put in that much effort to burn those calories.
So talking about basal metabolic rate. So what is basal metabolic rate? Is the calories that we burn out doing nothing. In fact, the calories that is required to breathe, to beat the heart. While sleeping, we actually burn calories. So each one of us will have a basal metabolic rate, which can be calculated. And depending upon that, we decide how much calories should go in. And the rule is we should have a calorie deficit. Okay, yeah.
I think that is the best state to be in.
Yeah,
Calorie deficit.
Calorie deficit is the best state to be in. And then you add on exercises into your life where you can burn a little bit more of calories to get that caloric deficit level. It's as easy as that. It's a simple math, how you maintain the diet and calories in your body. So I think you agree, right?
Yeah.
The diet is very, very important.
Yeah. And
it's
the
been
importance of food, like even
Yes.
as simple as what kind of meat we should be having.
Right.
I have learned a lot from you also about the good carbs, the bad carbs
Yes.
and all. Can you probably tell us more about that?
So and as you said, I also struggled in
Yes.
getting the fat burnt out from my body, despite the fact I was doing good exercises, and I was thinking, okay, it's not working. How do I get a nice abs, which was my dream? And then I realized eating right was important. First, I think I should highlight what is bad, what you should not be eating. I think anytime we should be knowing what you should not be doing rather than knowing what you should be doing. Well, I would say complete no to sugar.
Yes.
Yeah, I would really say complete no to sugar, which really helps in cutting out, because all the sugar just gets converted into fat. And once it gets converted into fat, it's just gonna collect around, mostly in this toughest part, which you find it very difficult to burn. And the other thing would be to limit and reduce carbohydrates. Well, there are good carbs, which it is required in your life, but then really cut down on the bad carbs, right? And alcohol. Right. I would abstain from alcohol because, well, personally, I'm not fond of it. But then even if you think that you like alcohol, just very moderate, very, very moderate. So we all know this beer belly concept, right? Yeah. Again, alcohol is also something that you can avoid to reduce the belly fat. And you tell me about your diet. Do you want to share with them how your
so I think another important point I would want to add is what I learned recently is to keep your metabolic rate sustained through the day rather than fasting for a long time. I think you should have more number of meals.
Yeah, ask me, Shefali. I mean, I have told this in my previous fitness thing also. People think I diet and I fast and stuff.
Yes.
I don't diet. Yeah. I mean, I don't fast at all. I'm not even in intermediate, what is that?
Intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting or keto diet or anything. Yeah. I eat really well. But then what I have done is I eat well, more meals. It's just not 3 even,
Correct.
4 to 5 small portions, portion control and eating right.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is what has helped me. Yeah.
So one is obviously just to keep it. and sustained throughout the day, we should have more number of meals. Major meals, of course, needs to be limited to 3. But we should have like healthy snack in between, maybe like chia, lemon water, whatever, like just to keep that sustained. Another very important thing I learned is coffee should not be the first thing going inside your system when you wake up, which was an eye opener for me. Like I have to have my coffee before
your nutritionist.
Yes. So yes. So now I drink like some kind of a warm water, maybe with cinnamon or some kind of a tea before, and in fact soak nuts, and then I start off my day, and then I can have my coffee or whatever I'm planning to do.
So this is a very valuable tip from her, and just not coming from her. It's coming from her experience. And it's a nutritionist. I think she's one of the very famous nutritionists in India who has suggested you this, right?
Yes.
I think coffee and tea is kind of an addiction, you know?
Especially, I mean, definitely it stimulates the nervous system and you wake up. But then I have realized with the right diet, in fact, you have more energy throughout the day. So my coffee intake has drastically reduced. From 3 cups, now I'm down to only 1 cup in the morning. That's all. Like post-lunch drowsiness has gone. And I don't need coffee to just sustain me through the day to like do whatever I'm planning to do. So that has been a major change. And I think as Indians also, because especially North Indians eat so much of wheat as roti. So I think that mindset also needs to change about multigrains and millets that you tell us about. Can you tell the audience about the millets?
So let me take you to the coffee thing. So personal experience, I start my day, and I think I started this in 2011. From 2011 to 2025 Jan, I start my day with a cup of hot water. Well, I drink hot water, lemon, and a bit of honey, you know, so this is how I start my first drink of the day. This has been told to me many a decade before by a professional, and I have strictly followed it. So one is, of course, you know, you're getting water into your system as the first thing in the morning, and then it also cleanses the system, you know. Honey I put not because I want sweet, because of the bitterness of the lemon. It's just a little bit of honey into it so that I can take that into my system, and I have been doing that routinely. Like, nothing goes inside my body other than water every day. And going on to food, we have spoken about it earlier also. Proteins are good. Proteins doesn't accumulate fat in your body. It also helps to break down the fat in your body. There is many physiological mechanism. We are not going into the depth of the physiology and the protein metabolic system and cycles here. But then protein is the best to break down your fat and prevent fat accumulation in your body. Regarding carbohydrates, if I say, good carbs, which comes from vegetables, which comes from oat grains, it's good for the body. I think we need carbohydrates in our body in moderate level. And so we should always go for good carbs and salads, lots of salads.
Fiber and filling the stomach. In fact, there, like some people even talk about the sequence in which you should be having your meal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like salad, like it should be the first one. It should not be you take it with the meal or after the meal. It should be the first thing that is going when you are taking a meal. So that one, obviously, common sense wise, it's fiber and it fills up your tummy, and it's good carbs, as you said. The glucose spike that happens with the salad is also what has been studied, like when you take it with the meal or before the meal. And then you have your roti, dal, sabji, whatever your meal plan is. And that's how it should go.
So do you take dressings with salad?
I avoid it. I just put lemon. I actually love lemon. Anyways, I put lemon on everything. So I
even in dal.
Even in dal, yes. So I used to do a lot of dressing, you know. I was eating, I think, like salad is healthy, and then sparkle it with like lots of, sauces and dressings. But then I realized lots of dressings actually comes with sugar content in it. So then I stopped because I really don't like sugar and I don't want sugar to go into my body. I've been strict with it. I stopped actually salad dressings. So, that is about food. And there are
Chicken is amazing.
It's lean meat.
Lean meat, yeah. Even
Fish.
yes. Yeah. Fish like salmon and sardine, which has omega fatty acid, which also is very helpful in giving a lot of protein and also, eventually helping in burning out fat in your body.
Rice.
Yeah. And good fats.
Yeah.
Like, we have nuts like almonds,
Walnuts.
pecan nuts, avocados. These are good fats, which also helps, good appetizers as well as easy small meals which will fill your body, and then you won't be much hungry for it. So yeah, I think diet is really important in burning out this tough belly fat.
So that was about diet. And another big myth that has been debunked in my life is spot reduction of fat. I used to do crunches and like trying to just reduce the belly fat because that has been like my body shape and that is what I have struggled with.
Let's ask Vikas.
Yes.
Because you like to have abs.
Yeah, of course.
Right. How do you think you can develop abs?
Cardio. Yeah, mostly cardio and diet.
Cardio and?
Diet.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Right. You have got it spot on. So, but then some people think you get abs by doing abs exercises like crunches.
I used to think that,
yeah, Russian twists and stuff. So that is not how you get abs. Actually, to see your abs, first of all, you have to burn the fat. And burning the fat is basically cardio. And cardio is the first thing that you should be doing, if you have to really get your calories in, the burning out the calories and burning the fat. So once you have reached that level where you have burned the fat by cardio, then you actually work out on your abs. So
toning the muscle.
No. So abs is basically the muscle. So the muscle has to be evident.
Yes.
If you have like a layers and layer of fat, you're blanketing it under, you're hiding it under the fat.
Yes.
So until and unless you don't get rid of the fat, your abs are never going to show up.
Correct.
Never going to show up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So diet is very important, and then exercise. Like my brother, okay, yeah, he might be listening. He might just shoot me after this, but I want to share this. He's so handsome, right? And he really works out. He has got amazing arms, and then he says it's genetic and whatever, right? Yeah, good physique. But then what he cries and complains every time when we have a discussion on health and fitness is like, oh my God, I'm not really able to burn this. I'm not happy.
The Indian paunch.
Yeah, he's like, I have this. It's not a big paunch that he has, but he's not happy that he's not able to see those lines because he's been exercising every day. So what I tell him is wherever he's going wrong is the food habits. Like, I tell him to control his mouth. So whenever, in many ways, yeah, he's like, first of all, he's very talkative. And then like, if you control your mouth, probably you'll be able to see your abs soon.
And the biryanis, I'm very sure he will be hogging on when he goes to Kannur.
Kannur, yeah. So when he goes to Kannur, the Talshiri biryani and the Kannur biryani.
We have Talshiri restaurants here also.
Oh, yes, yeah. So all those food habits that, although it's not constant in his life, once in a while, that is what it...
Correct. The discipline is another thing that I've learned, that your entire month of hard work can just be ruined by like a weekend of fun.
Right.
And
so then now he's working on his diet, and then he thinks, well, it's working, So that's how it happens. Yeah. And I think you have to get the food right along with the exercise to have a, belly, which is
you
good.
have very tasty food choices. Like the other day when we went out, I stuck to chicken and fish, which was super yummy, and I avoided the rice.
Right,
so that was just a simple thing that I brought into my discipline. Hopefully I'm able to sustain
so I think
that.
exercise is basically when you have a fat to burn, you have to work on the cardio. Like there was a time when I really want to burn my fat. I used to do cardio every day, 7 days in a week, and then probably 3 to 4 days of strength training, because of course strength training is important for me for my musculoskeletal system, and some amount of calorie burns also happens there. And then when I started seeing my muscle after my fat started burning, then I started working on my toning and stuff. Yeah. So that is how it is. Yes.
Yeah. And actually it's like a rolling ball. the more you keep up with it, the more you get inspired by yourself every day, actually.
Yeah, right. As I say, look into your scale every day. Yeah,
Yes.
it helps you in, if you're not doing well, it helps you. If you're doing well, you're encouraged.
Correct.
So either way, it's really an encouragement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, going on to the other factors, which is the cause for belly fat, I think something which we really want to talk here is about the stress belly.
Yes, another thing that I struggle with, because most of the time I've realized I'm under moderate amount of stress.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Yeah.
And anyways, I think as human beings, we all are under moderate amount of stress, especially in this lifestyle that we are living.
Right.
So
traffic can Bangalore traffic can get you stressed.
Yes,
when you're going. Oh yeah, when you're going for work.
Stress.
So I think what happens when you're stressed? A chronic stress is not good for our life. You can have this kind of a stress level which comes and goes away, and of course, as a lifestyle and as a person, we should be working on it. So when you are stressed, there is this hormone, the cortisol, which kinds of shoots up. And this is a hormone, which is cortisol, which is kind of, it's like a fat deposition hormone. When cortisol is increased, there is literally fat which is being deposited. And it also actually, prevents the metabolism and breakdown of the fat as well. So when someone gets stressed, one, the cortisol level is going up and there is fat deposition. And as a human being, I think when we are stressed, there is kind of a self-medication.
Yes.
Eating is the therapy for most of the people. So chocolate. So it's kind of, it's a vicious cycle. Alcohol, chocolates, and just keep on eating to reduce the stress level. So stress, I think, is so crucial. To avoid stress is so crucial and plays a major role in the belly fat. And I think meditation, yoga, I am not great in meditation, but I think I take deep breaths and try to see the happy side of life most of the time. To be less stressed. I also get stressed, sometimes. So I think the stress level has to come down.
And I think as doctors, we are in such a profession that things get us stressed.
Correct.
Even a bad news about a patient, anything can actually increase our stress levels.
And it's not that we all, although we are sitting and talking here, it's not that I'm always doing exercise. There are times when I am not able to do it and I skip it. So then, I compensate with my food there. I know that, for example, when I travel for my work, I travel a lot. I am getting to one place. I go to Kannur. So Kerala is an expedition for me. And then I take a train. Then I go to another place. I work. But what I feel good about it, if I lose my exercise while traveling, is that I know I'm working hard. It's a day full of 15 surgeries in a day where I'm standing and I'm moving. So I know there is some amount of extra calories that I'm burning. So
but your routine is broken.
My routine is broken, but still I'm happy. Well, I am doing work, it's like a busy day and I'm moving around doing stuff. So that is being burnt.
Yeah, same thing. I think on our retinoblastoma days, when we get up early in the morning and go to the cancer center for the treatment part of it. So we are actually breaking our routine and missing, I wake up quite early to do my morning yoga. So I miss yoga that day.
Right. And, on a very busy surgical day of yours, I'm sure, you're there at 6:30 a.m.? 6:30, right.
Yeah, we start off by 7. So we have to be there early. But still, we try to compensate, although we are active throughout the day. But the routine is broken.
Yeah, but then I think, there can be situations where you are not able to do it. But I think the intent to make it your lifestyle and being consistent in making sure that you burn so much of calories a day and keeping yourself in a calorie deficit mode is good enough.
Awareness. Starting with awareness and then actually keeping up with it.
That will get you there.
Well, the ideal thing would be if I am losing my calories in my sleep. Do you want to tell me something about that? How can I do that?
Yeah, so it is magical and amazing if someone tells me that you sleep and you can lose the belly fat. I can sleep the whole day. I love sleeping. Yeah, so something that I also make sure is whatever be it, I have to get my sleep. And I think sleeping is so very important, and it actually plays a role.
Yes.
In fat
you
accumulation.
In physiology, we used to read about some hormones that gets disturbed in
GHR, ghrelin and leptin. Yeah.
Yes.
So those are the hormones, hungry hormones. It's called the hungry hormones. Yeah. So these are the hungry hormones which actually gets dysregulated if you lack sleep.
And then we overeat. Then everything is...
So sleep is very important. First of all, your stress level reduces.
Yeah.
I don't overeat when I'm sad and stressed and depressed.
Same with me.
Which is so I actually don't eat. I go in a starvation mode, which is also not good. So lucky that I don't binge myself. Adequate sleep can also help in these,
And another thing I've realized during my day is sometimes I'm too thirsty, but I'll think that I'm hungry. So I think to keep up with your water intake is also very important. I think 8 cups of water is what is, told that you should be having throughout the day. If you can have more, it's pretty good. But
So whether 8 or 6 or 10, I think keeping yourself really hydrated is so very important in your good healthy habits. So this is what we are. So we were touching upon what are the things that can help us burn the belly fat, how you can measure it. So basically, I think diet comes first, eating right comes first. Exercise, mainly cardio exercise. If you have a fat, you should really work on cardio, like cardio. And then you are at that level where you know that, for example, if you are burning 1,000 calories, it's difficult to get to 1,000 calories per day. So I think today
500 is also an effort.
The 500 is, today I think I burned 500 calories, but I'm over ambitious always. I want to burn 200 more, 200 to 300 more. So then I thought
exercise morning and evening. So
I thought I will go back and do it. Well, now I can't go back because we are doing it here.
It's okay. You'll lose some calories in your sleep.
Right. I'll go and sleep. Yeah. So if you are at 1,000 calorie, if you're dispensing 1,000 calories per day, and I think you can afford to eat what you want once in a while. If you really like a cake or an ice cream, if you are in a safer place of burning this much of calories in a day, I think you can have your biryani once in a while.
Afford to have the cheat day then.
Yes, afford to have your cheat day of biryani once in a while.
Win it.
So you actually win it. And I think there is a good trend, earlier, maybe like 10 years back when I used to go to gym. I'll be very honest here. I probably couldn't see many women around me who comes to the gym, and I used to be
been to the gym. But lately I have started.
Right? Yeah. So I was kind of a tomboy among the boys who was there in the gym doing exercises. But there has been a tremendous change. I think post-COVID, COVID and post-COVID, where people have realized how important health is. And people really want to be healthy. Now, I think health is the trend now.
Yes.
Now I can
I think as Indians, actually, we are walkers. We walk a lot. Somewhere I read the joke that we are a country of Johnny Walkers.
Oh, really? Johnny Walkers finds alcohol.
But like my parents walk, my in-laws walk. Everybody I know walks, which is important to keep yourself active. But as you were saying, that gymming and strength training is so important.
So, and I think earlier it was like an urban thing, in cities like Mumbai and Bangalore and Chennai, we have, people who are...
Fancy gyms are there.
Gyms and people are about. But I am so happy. I come from a small town from Kerala, Kannur. Now I have my colleagues, doctors.
Yes,
Actually,
yes.
the doctors, they're women.
Yeah.
They're all into fitness now.
fitness,
So it
yeah.
doesn't matter whether you're in an urban society or,
Correct, yeah.
everything is available
Yeah.
now and everyone has the access to it.
Correct.
Earlier, you didn't have it, right? And it's a very good trend. It's an extremely good trend that people are getting more and more into health. And I think it keeps us going into a healthy society. And I think the longevity also, we're all going to look much younger. We know I think the
Feel
secret,
younger also.
feel younger. We know the secret to stay young. And I think losing fat and getting into shape definitely makes you look younger.
Okay.
So we know that secret now, and the secret of longevity is being spoken a lot now.
Yeah.
So I think we will get there when, the trend is coming. I think we are advancing.
Yeah.
It's very promising, and it's excellent that everyone has the awareness of it. So yeah.
And we have also discussed about like how you have also put your viewpoint about longevity is one thing, but quality of life.
Quality of life.
Like,
yeah.
We don't know many other genetics things, but whatever years you're living, at least those should be like happy and productive years.
Yeah, when now you said about genetics, before we conclude. So one of the main excuse, is I am busy in life.
Oh,
I can't do exercise. The second thing, when, you kind of tell someone, what, why don't you lose weight? No, it is in my genes.
Exactly.
It's in my genes. My papa is fat.
Well,
my
your
grandfather
fat is
is
in your
fat. My
genes.
grandmother is fat. So that is why I'm fat. Of course, there is definitely something to do with genetics, but you can always alter it, right? You don't have to live the same life thinking that's in my genes and I don't want to work on it. Well, but then there are genetic metabolic disorders which has to be treated, and taken seriously. But giving an excuse that I'm busy and I don't get time, and telling that it's in my genes and I cannot. So
only the fat is in your genes.
Yeah, fat is in your genes. So I think changing your lifestyle can break that, thing in you. And I think it's more about a sustainable, not too overambitious, and consistent lifestyle.
And I think starting early, because like sometimes me and my husband discuss when we see Adira playing and maybe rock climbing much faster than what we can, or playing or doing a cartwheel, which we obviously can't do, surfing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's what like I was saying the other
Encouraging
day.
the kids, you mean?
Not just that, if we remain like this, it's so difficult to even accumulate the layers, because we have accumulated the layers over the years in your 20s, when you should be actually working out and be fit, like teens,
active,
and
basically
active,
moving. Yeah, right.
So I think till teens, at least you have that innocence and you're active. But in your 20s, I think you lose kind of maybe to experiment also with your lifestyle.
But you know what, Shefali? Now the 20-year-olds are much smarter than what we were.
Now that's what you said. No, the trend is picking up. So I think it's everywhere, and they are also like doing it. And since they are doing it, I think it's going to be a healthier generation.
I think definitely the future generation is going to be much more hotter, much more fitter, and than what we are. And they will actually look much younger. It's going to change.
Yes.
So now itself we say that the new 40s and the 40s are the new 20s. It's right. 30s are like teenagers.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure the future generation is going to be much more healthier and fitter than us. Yeah. But then, we also know that the downside of the new, generation and lifestyle is they also binge a lot. Like, when I was young, we hardly went out and ate.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Yeah.
Takeouts and takeaways.
Yeah, takeaways. We didn't have Swiggy, that where you can have any junk food coming to your home.
Correct.
So that is another downside of it.
Going out and eating was a celebratory.
Once in a while. Otherwise, it's small.
The result has come out, or
exactly.
It's your birthday or
now,
something like that.
Even kids, they order on Swiggy and they eat stuffs which should not be eaten. I think that the new generation should be aware of, healthy eating. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed being with us today on how to lose belly fat. So to conclude, losing belly fat is very tough. It's not easy. All right. So first and foremost, eat right. The diet has to be taken care. exercise, cardio, and lose the belly, and strength training, of course. And the myth is like working around your abdomen or working around your body to do crunches and thinking that you will lose fat is not going to happen. Body decides where you want to lose fat.
Yeah.
Body decides the way. So I lose fat when I exercise on my face.
Yeah.
And people say, oh my God. I'm like, it's
Skeleton.
okay. Yeah, skeleton. It's okay. It's okay. And I have a nice jawline. It's okay. But then I don't want the fat around. So the fat decides where it will go and accumulate. We don't decide. And I think reducing the stress level and adequate amount of sleep and keeping you hydrated is what will really, really help you in a long term and having a good lifestyle.
I hope this has been helpful. We all have been struggling with it. And if you have any queries, please feel free to comment below. We definitely check your comments and we will reach out to you. You can also reach out to us.
Yeah.
And also subscribe to our channel because it's 2025 and we have a lot more interesting topics coming up for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being with us. And don't go with the message that we are people without belly fat. I have belly fat. I'm working on it.
And you saw mine. I'll be back 6 months later with hopefully
What is your
some
number?
change.
What is your number?
I have to
Target number.
2 inches, 100% I have to reduce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your target? Just keep your target.
30. 33. Then I have to become 30. It will be tough. 6 months.
Okay, so her target is 33.
Maybe
Fine.
28. Okay, 28.
20.
I'll be greedy with my
20.
dreams.
Be in your 20s.
Yes.
You don't want to be in
28.
30s.
Okay. Yeah, 28 is
Perfect,
my...
yeah. And I'll come with nice abs 6 months. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. See
And
you
have a
guys.
wonderful, healthy year ahead. Love you.